What was the impact from sales the day that you could finally say you won Cupcake Wars?
So we were able to say it a week before. We had a viewing party. And then
fun.
right after we, and we were like in the newspaper and stuff. So right after we opened at that location in downtown Moorhead. And the first Saturday we were open after that announcement, we sold 1,000 cupcakes in 45 minutes.
Thank you for listening to the Guys Who Do Stuff podcast. Visit guyswhodostuff.com. You probably shouldn't Google that.
All right, well, welcome to the Guys Who Do Stuff show. I am Joe.
I'm Josh.
And this is the show where we help you get unstuck, tell a better story, and have a good answer to the question, what are you doing today? And today we have the lovely ladies from HappyCakes joining us in the studio.
Yeah, HappyCakes Cupcakery.
Hello.
Welcome.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Go ahead.
Well, we own two cupcakeries, actually. One is in Cary, North Carolina. The other one, actually our first one, is in Moorhead City, which is right on the beach. It started from my mom, Angela.
Who's
That's
here in
me.
the room.
That's me. Yep.
Her and my sister-in-law actually went on to Cupcake Wars, which is a TV show on Food Network. And they went on and they won. So figured we'd go professional.
And we actually started baking out of our kitchen and at home. Yeah. And just saw the show and we were like, yeah, we want to do that.
Yeah.
You know? And so we applied and got on and...
What was more so watching the show and was like, man, these people suck.
Yeah.
Not really. You should probably edit that.
Like, we can win. We know we can win.
But you know you had the goods to win.
Yeah.
So you're like, why not?
Yeah, which now looking back, I'm like, what made us think that? Because, I mean, we had a good recipe, but still, I mean, we hadn't been doing it long. So, I mean, we always say, like, we could win so much better now. I mean, if we went on now, we were like, we'd win better than we did then. Yeah.
We would win even more
There's
than
only-
first place.
There's only one first place, though,
Yeah.
right?
We'd win first and second.
They would just shut the show down.
Yeah.
What sort of flavors did you start out with back in the day when?
Well, we tried to do themed flavors because that's what they did on the show. So we did, one day we built a fire pit in our backyard. And then we did a s'mores cupcake. And what other crazy ones did we do then?
I don't remember the crazy ones so much, but it's difficult coming up with themed flavors because we're very against using artificial flavors, food colorings, fondants, anything like that. So like they had to be super. I wasn't a part of this whole process. That was before my time, but
She was watching and tasting.
I would taste everything, you know, so I had the best part, I guess, but they had to be super creative on like figuring out ways to incorporate things to make it like themed, but without, you know, having decoration.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you think your guys' choice to do like the whole no artificial flavors created a parameter for you to become more creative like that?
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Definitely. We have to really think about everything we do and, which we love that whole concept because there's a lot of bakeries that claim to do a lot of things. And I'm sure there's one out there, but I don't know of any bakery that doesn't use artificial flavors or colorings. So
I also notice you guys don't do day-old cupcakes.
we do not.
Very strict on that.
Very strict.
What happens to all the cupcakes?
I know what happens
That's
to
the big
them.
question of
like,
the
I
day.
I'm kind of married into the family, you see.
Let's just say our friends really like it.
You guys do a cupcake run at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We actually just last weekend had one of our employees claimed that he could eat 30 cupcakes in 5 minutes.
OMG.
And we had them left over.
We had 3
so
dozen
we're like,
cupcakes
we're
left
like,
at the
do
end
it
of the
then.
day. Yeah.
Is there a video of this anywhere?
We need to
There
make
is
one.
actually. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He made it to 17.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, 17 in what?
8 minutes,
8
I
minutes.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is this a teenage kid? You're like,
No.
He's 24.
oh, he's
Yeah.
old enough to know
He's
better.
a
Still
big
too young
guy,
to care.
too. Yeah.
He's actually like a competing Bodybuilder.
Oh, gosh. Where you
Yeah.
go? Well, there's no artificial ingredients in there, so
Right.
he feels good about that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, now you guys have the information you need to do like your giveaway thing. Like if you can eat 20 cupcakes under 10
Right.
minutes,
That's true.
you get them for free, and then you know nobody can really do it.
Yeah.
So 17 is like the threshold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people would take the challenge, be like, I can eat 20.
I can eat 20.
20, that's nothing. Those
Yeah.
are tiny.
That's easy. I can eat a whole pizza.
We kept telling him ones to avoid too. Like,
Yeah.
don't do fluffernutter because
'Cause it's heavy.
there's so much to that cupcake. No, he started with fluffernutter.
He's
like
like, no.
4 fluffernutter.
I want to impress everyone.
Yeah.
So your guys' new place that just opened up is on, you say Cary Morrisville, because it's in that place where you're driving down 54 and you change
Yeah.
cities 3
Yeah.
times as you're driving through.
It's
Right.
pretty complicated.
Right by then, there's a new apartment complex. Well, it's not crazy new, but right behind it. And then in front of that's you guys, and there's like, what else is in there? Wasaka.
There was
Wasaka,
Famous Toast Street.
Marco's
that
Pizza,
was the biggest
Salon Lofts. They're really big. Laundromat.
Yeah.
Jasmine Mediterranean.
Oh, I love Jasmine.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
that
really
sounds-
good.
So how do you guys like the new location versus the Morehead City one? Obviously, you guys probably didn't drive out to Morehead City that often. Or do you guys live locally? Is this closer for you or is this further for you?
We live in Moorhead, and she runs the Cary store.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
she
kind
comes
of go back and forth.
I
But
got
I
you.
mainly live here
Yeah.
to
But
run
she
the
still keeps
store.
her hand in Moorhead a little too. So
Yeah, that's
now
exciting.
that we have a really good staff, she's able to go back and forth.
And how long have you guys been open there? It hasn't been that long, has it?
We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary.
All right.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We designed this store so it looks basically like the Moorhead store. So like
Yeah.
the brick background, and when I look on the cameras, there's a certain glance that I look at, and I don't know what store I'm looking at. So
Oh, wow, yeah. It's such an eclectic feel in there. That's just sort of
Yeah.
great vibe in there of sort of wood and
Yeah.
antique lighting feeling. And
Which that all actually stemmed from their episode of Cupcake Wars. The what's it called?
Display.
The display at the end was themed like
yeah,
industrial,
Brick and-
vintage, and that was because they were trying to incorporate both male and female elements into it.
sure.
So the other woman did like this bright blue and
bird cage and
bird
feathers.
cages and feathers, very feminine looking. It was
Yeah.
beautiful, but very
Yeah.
feminine. Not
Yeah.
as much masculine. So they tried to add like both elements to that.
Yeah. You don't want to drive men away with feathers.
Right.
I
and
mean,
bird cages.
exactly.
Like
Yeah.
men like cupcakes too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a split. I mean, pretty much it's everybody. Like, who doesn't?
Right.
like
Yeah.
cupcakes?
Yeah,
For sure.
and none of us are the pink, girly,
Like
glittery. So we were
bright
like,
and-
okay, we're gonna give it more of a, coffee shop, kind of like a downtown vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we were kind of going for, like an industrial,
Yeah.
like an industrial chic or something. I
Yeah,
don't know
something
what that
like
would be
that.
called, but yeah,
Yeah.
vintage industrial. Maybe that would be
Vintage
it. Yeah.
industrial.
Yeah.
VI.
So if you could rewind back to those days when you're watching Cupcake Wars, like, we could win this thing. Like, what else was going on in your life that made you think, like, we need to think about becoming bakers? Were you always into baking? Were you running a
Well,
bakery before?
So I've always baked, like for my family. The kids growing up, I just loved baking, and I was always into baking from scratch. Like I'm a, anti-mix, anything artificial. Like I've always been
we
like
always
that.
joked with her because she was like such a snob. Like we'd be like, "Oh, are you gonna get instant mashed potatoes or something?" And she'd like turn up her nose and be like, "Why would I do
That's
that?"
insulting. I mean, come on.
And it was always homemade. So
Yeah.
I've never. I mean, we grew up. I didn't even have what's it like?
Really, anything.
Little
canned
Debbie cakes, or
yeah.
I don't even remember how old I was when I had an like a microwavable meal.
Yeah, it was like Little Debbie cakes. I can make a cake from
Yeah.
scratch quicker than I can go buy a Little Debbie cake. So I always loved baking. I really didn't have on my radar to start another business because my husband and I already have a business that we've had for 20-something years.
Yeah.
And I just did it for a hobby. And then my son and daughter-in-law had moved in with us while they were getting another place or something. We had gone through a difficult time in our family. We had some, different tragedies and different things. And so we really started baking, and that was kind of our way to, fill time. And it was therapeutic for us. And so we just did it for fun. And then we started selling cupcakes, like little parties, birthday parties and stuff. Friends of family, and Yeah, and so then people started saying like, "Oh, you should sell these," and we're like, "I don't know, we'll see." And then I don't know, just one thing led to another. So then we were just doing more and more and more. Went on the show, and then once we went on the show, before it even aired, because like you film it and you can't tell anybody. Like we couldn't tell anybody.
Yeah, how did that
go?
go?
To LA. That was really weird. Like we told our family, obviously, and
But
we're like in the back of the studio, like texting code words because like. We signed confidentiality agreements. And I mean, they knew, like, you're telling your family you're flying to LA, But, we're in the studio, like, in between, like, texting.
I was, like, playing video games, getting
stuff.
texts, and I was like, okay, they made it past the first round.
Like,
okay, they made it past the second.
And, so.
How long were you guys in LA shooting the show?
4 days. Shooting was only 1 day, but, there's other things, like, they, bring you in the studio one day and familiarize yourself and different things. But
and then they brought you back.
Right. And then we went back a couple months later.
Okay.
But it was just crazy because we flew there, we filmed. In fact, we had a big cupcake order that we had to have somebody else deliver for us. We had to like bake it the night before, have somebody else deliver and, tell people like, oh yeah, we're going to LA. Like, why, It's seeing friends. Cause by then, I mean, the producers were our friends. We'd talked to them so much. So, but then we won, and then we came back, and you can't tell anyone. So it's like this anticlimactic, like, yay, we won. And then we ended up having to separate on the planes, and you just get back, and it's so like, okay, now what do we do? You can't tell anybody, you can't do anything.
Yeah. And the whole time you got to be thinking, this is going to be so great for
her business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like they were trying to like plan future things, but like without outright saying, yeah, we won.
Yeah. So that's kind of when we decided, like, we had to make the decision then, do we want to really go forward with this as a business?
Mm-hmm.
Because we can't do it out of our house anymore. Like, this is not going to be possible. So we talked to her and asked her if she'd join us and be our third partner. And then we started looking at storefronts. And then we basically just started planning. Fast forward, we filmed in June. October was when it aired. So we had a while. And
that is a long wait.
Yeah, it's a long wait, and
You're
you can't even tell anybody you were on the show at all.
I wish I could like sell stuff in June and then not give it to people until October. I wish that could fly for me. Yeah, I'll do that right away.
Yeah. Get right on that.
Well, and then too, like you win $10,000, but like you don't know when you're going to get it.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Like people are like, "Oh, you won 10,000." Like.
Weekly installments of $20 for the rest of your life.
And then taxes too.
Yeah.
So.
Taxes. People are like, oh, you won so much money. And I'm like, yeah, it paid for our sign out there. That was it. So then we started planning, and we, while we were looking for a storefront, we had a friend who had a restaurant in downtown Moorhead, and he let us rent out a little space. So we had a commercial kitchen that we baked, and we'd transport the cupcakes. So the day that we opened,
that sounds like a risky endeavor because they're like pretty and they shouldn't get too warm.
It was crazy.
And you're moving a bunch of them every day.
Yeah.
And we had a crazy system.
Yeah, we had a Land Rover that
it was super tall.
Yeah. 2 of the cupcake racks fit perfect in the back. But still, like, we're driving and, like, hitting potholes and, like, oh, my gosh,
A Land Rover's not the most maintenance-friendly.
No. And it's real bouncy.
Yeah.
But it worked out, and we knew we were going to get busy, but we didn't understand,
Yeah.
So
what was the impact from sales the day that you could finally say you won Cupcake Wars?
So we were able to say it a week before. We had a viewing party. And then
fun.
right after we, and we were like in the newspaper and stuff. So right after we opened at that location in downtown Moorhead, and the first Saturday we were open after that announcement, we sold 1,000 cupcakes in 45 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We had like the line was wrapped around the building, and we're just, 45 minutes later, we're like, we're out of cupcakes. So
guess we're done.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So like people that got there in 46 minutes are like, really?
Yeah.
Are you
kidding me?
I drove down here for this. I guess I'll just eat at the other restaurant. That'd be very appreciative. He probably got business for him, huh?
He actually started opening for lunch after that.
Right.
Oh yeah.
It's like, well, while you're here,
Yeah.
if you run out of cupcakes, we have tasty sandwiches.
Yeah.
They're basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So how big of a role do you think that winning Cupcake Wars played on the success at the beginning of your guys' business?
I think it was huge at the beginning. I think just because we have really good cupcakes and we're consistent, I feel like by now we'd probably be in the same place. Just because
it was like a turbocharge.
Yeah, exactly. It was just a huge jump for us. And the cool thing about Moorhead is that it's a small town and word spreads.
Yeah.
If you're good. If you're not good, that's not good.
Word also spreads.
Right?
Yeah. Also spreads. They won Cupcake Wars, but it's kind of like eating gravel. I don't know.
I don't know how they won.
Let's spread this around.
So I think it gave us a boost, but I think our cupcakes are what keep people coming back every day, every year, because we have a lot of tourists that come back every year.
And we have regulars that like we've known since the beginning. Like it's crazy that they still come in as consistently as they do.
But I saw online, I saw some pictures that I thought, and I think it happened relatively soon after what you guys were talking about. You get the store open, it's fantastic, everything's great, and then I saw a picture of an SUV in the middle of your front counter.
That was
like
fun.
They drove through the store
3 weeks after we opened.
3 weeks
at
after
our
you opened.
location. Yeah, we opened in October at that downtown Moorhead, and then we found a location. And
So you're in your new location.
we're in our new. We
Great.
take
The
we're
place
like
that we're at now.
6 months
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it takes us.
I'm
to
sure you got
get
money
it ready,
leveraged.
you
You're
know?
all excited about the new loans you got to pay off your new space.
We were still waiting on furniture. Like it was that new. Like we didn't have tables yet.
3 weeks, and then
Come and
she
stand
was
and
up
eat
front.
your cupcakes.
Yeah.
So,
Just
yeah.
stand there and watch us.
So
Yeah.
nobody was hurt though. I saw that. So that's great news.
I mean,
Okay. Maybe not.
Oh.
I mean,
nobody died and nobody was like seriously hurt. But
yeah. But you can't drive an SUV through a storefront
Right.
and not hurt
Like,
a little
yeah. all
bit.
the way
three
through.
people went to the hospital, I think.
Yeah, I think 3 or 4.
One person was airlifted.
She was
But,
pinned between the concrete counter and the car. So the car drove
And the
like
corner of the wall.
She didn't hit the glass and then stop. She kept coming and hit our concrete counter and was still gassing it. Like
Like
had
the
we
tires
not,
were
she
spinning
was
and
trying
smoking.
To go through.
She wanted cupcakes that bad.
Right.
She was.
Yeah.
She wanted to skip the line.
Oh.
Like
And we're like,
drive
lady,
through
you can't
meant
do
something
that.
to her.
Not
Yeah.
do that.
And there were customers in the store?
Yeah.
Wow.
Luckily, not too many, but it was. I mean,
Group of
think
school kids had just left.
a group of school kids had just
Oh,
left,
man.
and thank God there was this one woman, and she had 2 of her kids. Her little girl was like 3 or 4,
Yeah.
and a baby, and the baby was in the car seat.
like 6 weeks old. I think.
Yeah. And she had taken the baby out, and she was holding the baby and the little girl, and they were walking over to the other side of the store to get like napkins or something. And the woman came through at that moment, and then we didn't realize it till later, but the car seat was under the woman's car.
Yeah, ran over the car.
So
So
if
the
she-
baby had just been in.
So like if she'd left the baby in the car seat, you
Oh,
know,
man.
so like we were so blessed that like it wasn't worse.
Oh no.
So
That's why we were just like,
good.
forget the store.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, at that point, we were
Yeah.
just thankful
Yeah.
that everyone was okay. And I say everyone was okay. I mean, a lady was airlifted and people went to the hospital, but not life-threatening injuries.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, it was crazy. She was up front and she was like,
I remember
I was
seeing the
here,
car.
and then somehow I got over there. So
Yeah.
we're not sure how. I wish we had cameras at the
It
time
was-
because we could
yeah.
have seen her fly, you know.
Like I
I don't
honestly
know.
do not remember moving. I just
Yeah.
remember seeing the car coming and then like
Could
I'm
have been.
like, oh, here it comes, and then I was over here.
Wow.
So it was
That could have been your
crazy.
most popular Vine.
I know.
Just play that on loop.
I just miss being famous. They're already famous. I could have been famous.
We could have been
This
on
was my
Fox
shot.
News if we would have had
You could have
camera
had
footage.
another 10 grand from AFV. It just would have been right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would have won AFV.
I know.
That's scary.
I would have sent it around to
Something, though.
everywhere until I won something. So,
So how did that impact business? So you finally got open and now you've got a
Right.
hole in the front of your store.
Right. So we had to close another 6 weeks to then rebuild again. So the cool thing is the community, you know, was just so wonderful
Yeah,
and
people
so
were great.
supportive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So our second grand opening was July 4th. And I mean, it was just incredible. Once again, lines all the way around the building. I think people.
we were busier our second grand opening than we were our first grand
Yeah.
opening.
Oh,
It was
that's cool.
insane.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, the community really came out and was so supportive. And I mean, now we did get the, you know, occasional phone calls during that, or like, gosh, the day after
Yeah.
the car drove through. I had an order. Can you please bake these cupcakes for me? I'm like, there's a car in our storefront, you know. But
That's
that's
like-
just how much people loved the cupcakes.
Yeah.
So
I love people's mentality on stuff like that. They're like, I know you got a lot going on, but my thing, you're not going to not do my thing, right?
But these 12 cupcakes are,
I don't think you understand. I have a birthday party, and that's important.
Well, that and might need to edit this out. I don't know how bad this is to say, but like we still get people that are like, oh, I was on my way in at that when I heard the sirens and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, okay, we've heard that so many times. If everybody,
hundreds of times.
Or like people like, oh, I had just left when the car ran through. And we're like, okay, the store should have had like, 1,000 people in it with as many people.
Oh, as many people.
As they're saying. Because everybody's like, oh yeah, I just missed it. And we're like, it's not about you.
Right. And this should be edited, or it was like,
oh, we're gonna edit nothing. Anything you guys say, that's like a good
gold.
We're like, oh, I was gonna go, and something told me not to. Yeah. So my angels protected me that day, and I was like, where were ours? We were there.
Maybe you should have sent your angels to do.
To keep us home that day. Yeah. There were definitely angels protecting us that day. However, it's just funny, we're like,
wow.
I mean, how could that many of hundreds of people, we're going to come in the store that day. But
people want to be a part of a good store.
They do. Exactly. It's so true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's awesome that people like to root for the underdog too. So it's exciting to hear that, because people are rooting for you to win the show. You win the show. They come up for the grand opening, and then it's like, then this SUV thing happened. Then you had more people for the second grand opening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
really
just,
cool.
It's not the way that you would think about a successful way to launch a business.
Right. No.
So
it's not something you plan.
What do you anticipate or hope to be the third boost in your,
We
have cameras now, though, so we're ready.
And now you're on a podcast.
That's right.
So you said this was your second business that you started. Did you have any mentors or anybody helping you out when you started? Do you feel like any lessons got imparted to you?
Not this one, because like I said, so I was 19 when my husband and I started our first business. And
well, that's good, because that's when you knew everything.
I was going to say, I actually
she was
learned
at the height of her wisdom at that point.
Learned everything the hard way on that business. So I was able to, come into this business with a lot of, I guess, business knowledge and experience, hard earned. So it was great, because I don't know, I just had in my mind, like, knowing like when you start a business, it's hard, it's really hard, whether it be that you're slow, or in our case, we were so busy and so crazy and working, 14, 15-hour days.
Insane.
And
it's honestly a blur.
And
how long did that launch phase work, where it felt like it was that just everything had to be poured into it before it transitioned into like a little bit more stability for you guys?
We just weren't prepared. Like, we try to,
it'd be tough to be able to be prepared for that level of success.
And for financial purposes, you're always like, let me think low, I don't want to assume.
Everybody would laugh at your business plan and be like, we're going to sell like 1,000 cupcakes in 45 minutes.
Exactly.
So
they'd be like, cupcakes, okay.
What's that equal? Is that a good business plan?
Yeah. And we're like all realists. So we're like, we're going to, stay level-headed with what we're planning or whatever. So the first grand opening in our new location in May, I remember that morning I took my hair straightener to work, because I was like, I'm going to straighten my hair after I bake or whatever. Like, no
time for that.
It was like insane. So one good thing about the car driving through was that it gave us that 6 weeks that we were rebuilding. We also revisited everything we were thinking
from like a process standpoint.
Because we had like plates and mugs and stuff that we were like, oh, this is going to be cute, almost like a tea place or a coffee place, and we're going to serve people. When you have, when you're selling, I think that first day we sold 3,000 cupcakes or something. There's no serving people in tea when you've got lines, going around the building and you're trying to fold boxes in between. And
also when we first started, it was literally my mom, my sister-in-law, and I. Yeah. It was the three of us. And they were in the kitchen baking, and I was running the front, and that was it.
Yeah.
So, and, in our sweet, naive minds. We were like, oh, that's fine. That's going to be fine. And I was like dying out front. Yeah. And then I'd go in the back and be like, I need help. And they'd be like, we can't keep up. Yeah.
I know
we all need help.
People that wait in long lines are generally very friendly and the best versions of themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean, you know, like people are known for being so nice. And
They come to the counter and be like, this cupcake better be good.
Or you sell out of their flavor right before they get up there. Oh, that's the worst.
Well, and then it's, I mean, because, you know, it's my personal goal to get rid of cupcakes before, you know, the person can get their cupcakes. So, you know, it's definitely all my fault.
But yeah, we hired more people in that 6 weeks, and we were able to, you know, kind of restructure things and get an idea, change our idea of how we were going to do things. Yeah. I think we were going to do more like cupcakes, cookies, maybe scones or something. We were like, no, we're going to do one thing good because this is what people want. They want our cupcakes, you know? So the second grand opening, although crazy, we were so much better prepared. And we just got a good staff of people. I mean, amazing. Like the girl that we hired that in between time is still there. She's our manager there at the Moorhead store. And it's just incredible, you know, that we were able to hire good people and then, you know, come up with systems and put things in place. And so we really were able to get out of that craziness pretty quick. Like for us, you know, the 15-hour days and stuff. So it's
kind of an interesting metaphor. Like without having the systems and processes in place to handle that kind of volume, like you probably would have been in a crash of some kind.
Yes,
yeah,
but it was
definitely.
It was definitely a crash of some kind that allowed you to the bandwidth to focus on.
Right.
That's a good way to put it.
And
I
that
like that. I'm going to start saying
that's
that.
what I do. I rephrase stuff that people say and then sound smart for it. It's like, that's the whole thing of being on a podcast. Like, I just repeat back what you said and then people are like, oh, that's smart. Like, yep, that's what you just said. Yep. Yeah. Do you think that are there any other lessons? I love what you said about we're going to do one thing well. So that probably seemed like that was a big learning for you guys instead of branching out and doing other stuff. And I love that your situation made that so crystal clear and easy for you. Like, we got people out the door. Like, we're not going to sell high tea and like have fancy whatever, it's scones. Yeah. Like, we got to get these cupcakes out the door.
Exactly.
And it kind of provides you that opportunity to learn that very important lesson that a lot of businesses and entrepreneurs learn, and a lot of us the hard way. Like, what's the one thing you do really well? Were there any other things that stood out during that time that you felt like?
Well, the side note is that we also do cookies. So we do cupcakes and cookies, and the cookies are
do two things really well.
So it's not one thing, it's two things really well. For sure.
But I think with a lot of people, and this is what I think people lose sight of, you can do more than one thing. You can have more than one revenue stream, but I think when people say do one thing well, they mean market one thing well.
Right.
You didn't change your name to Happy Cake Cookie.
Yeah.
Right.
Cookie Cutter Cake or Cupcake.
Right.
Cupcake. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's, I mean, so many times over the years, people are like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do ice cream with that? Why don't you do
salads?
Salads.
Okay, seriously.
Somebody suggested that.
There was somebody.
I want a cupcake.
If she's listening.
Cupcake crumble. That's what you do at the Dale cupcakes. You wait till they get so hard they turn into cupcake croutons.
Genius.
And now you got a salad.
I love that.
It was before we opened, and it was when we were like delivering places, and she was one of our customers. And she said, I don't think that you can make a business on cupcakes alone. Why don't you do salads? I was like, wait.
Great.
The funny thing is that she says this while she's in line to get cupcakes from us.
This is never going to work. I'll take 12 cupcakes. This is a terrible idea. Do you have more of that flavor? I got a party coming up. I'd like to place an advance order.
You
But
should
this
really
is never
consider
going to work.
salads.
It's like, first of all, thank you for your encouragement. And second of all, salads?
It was probably more like she was like, you know what? I just want a salad. I was thinking, I would really appreciate it if I could also get the other thing I wanted while I'm here.
Well,
I also need shampoo and deodorant. So if you guys
Can't
could
be a one-stop shop.
sell that. Did you guys learn anything that you would put in the category of like a secret sauce? Like this is the thing that makes Happy Cakes work?
Really fancy ingredients.
Yeah.
And
you guys have a ton of flavors, right? So many so that you guys publish a monthly calendar so that people can keep up with the flavors that are coming out.
Right.
And I think that's really cool. And I see more restaurants doing that. Have you ever been to like Rise Biscuits or whatever? They're over there in
good.
Park West.
Yeah.
And they're a chain, but they let their chefs cook specialized stuff. So you kind of never know what you're going when you're getting in. But the good part is it's always really great because it's like somebody's specialty. So I always order the weirdest thing up there. Like, that shouldn't be good at all. I'll take that.
And a salad.
And a salad. We don't have salad. We sell donuts. Well, you're never going to make it. Never going to make it.
Fail.
I do think, kind of like with the doing one thing well, we, at the very beginning, we talked and we were like, here's what we're going to do. And we're not going to change. We're going to be consistent. And I think that's really helped us because we set our hours and we were like, these are our hours. They're not going to change during season. We are going to be professional. Like, that's the thing because we are what I guess you'd consider a mom and pop place, and not a huge chain. People tend to think that we're not professional and we're like, we have set hours.
Oh, so
you would be shocked how many people come banging on our door before we open.
Yeah. And they do the little tap their wrist, like what time, their watch. And we're like, you're not wearing a watch.
The hours are right there. Yeah.
That bothers me when people aren't wearing a watch and they tap their wrists.
Or banging on the door when we're closed because they think like, oh, here's this small place. You know?
You're in there.
Yeah.
Open up.
Yeah. I mean, can't you give us cupcakes at 10 even though you're open at 11?
Yeah.
And so we just from the very beginning tried to be very professional. Yes, we're in a small town, but we're going to run our business professionally. We're going to have set hours. We are going to do things certain ways. We are, one thing we really do is respect our employees.
Yeah.
If somebody comes in and they're yelling at an employee or, they're mad because we didn't open at 10 for them.
Or because we sold out.
Yeah, or don't have their flavor. Like, I'm sorry, we're not going to reward that because we love our employees and we love our customers. We have the best customers.
We're really blessed with customers, but with any business that has a high volume of people coming through, you're going to get the rotten apples.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
Just a few. Yeah. Out of all of we say that sometimes, like we're shocked how many transactions we do in a week and how few complaints we have,
Well, if you can't be in a good mood while purchasing a cupcake, you're not the kind of person that's in a good mood.
You think so?
You're coming to get HappyCakes. Why are you so mad?
I can't imagine the mindset of a cranky person being like, this day's terrible. I'm gonna go get a cupcake.
Well, we have my brother, her son.
And a salad.
He works in the store sometimes, and we've told him, I don't know how he gets away with saying some things that he says to people, but we've had people multiple times this has happened, but they'll say oh, you're out of the blah, blah, blah flavor. Oh, you're ruining my day, whatever, or my day's ruined, whatever.
This is the worst day of my life.
Yeah. And my brother several times has been like, well, you have a great life.
You have a great life.
If this is the thing that ruins your life,
I guess we talk to a lot of business owners and stuff. Do you feel like there's been one strategy that you guys have learned from running a cupcake now that you're at 2 chains and growing from 1 to 2? Is there a strategy that you would tell another business owner that if you did these things right, if you did these things maybe daily, they would end up in compounding effect and help you in the success of your business?
She just points at me.
You got this one. That question had too many words. It's yours.
Too many words. I was going to say it's pretty incredible. I honestly don't do much of the business standpoint side because she takes care of it all. And it's pretty impressive how well, how she goes into it. And she knew, things starting off and knew that this would potentially be a problem. So we need to figure this out now. And, all this stuff. And so thank God that she knew all that because I certainly didn't. But really, I think it's really extremely important to talk about things before jumping into them and just trying to come out with whatever inevitables you can think of. Obviously you're not going to be able to think of everything because things throw you sometimes. We still occasionally have something happen to us that we're never would have thought that would happen.
Yeah.
But
like an SUV driving through the front door.
Right.
Oh, that's just, that's no big deal. We planned that. Not really. Not really. But it just, definitely talk out policies, talk out, goals and rules, I guess I don't know. And stick to them. Don't.
What's the
waver.
one process or procedure you wish you guys would have put into place sooner?
The no pre-orders of less than 4 or 3 dozen. In Cary, it's 3 dozen. In Moorhead, it's 4 dozen. But when we first started, we were letting people call ahead and be like, hey, set us aside half a dozen or 3 cupcakes. And it was just chaotic.
Yeah. We had cupcakes piled all over.
Yeah.
And you got people in line, and you're like, I'm sorry, I brought a cupcake.
Exactly.
I see cupcakes.
Exactly.
No, those aren't your cupcakes, sir.
exactly
I'm here. They're not. Give them to me.
Somebody else called, and they're
Right.
better than you.
Yeah.
Those
You should
3.
have called.
You're in the store. They're 2 hours away.
There are
Yeah.
VIPs.
VIPs.
And then people wouldn't pick up, and we
Yeah.
had to throw them away at the end of the
Yeah.
day, and we could have sold them.
Oh,
So,
man.
and people,
You should drive the cupcakes to their house and just like people egg a house.
Yeah.
Like just to
Oh my
smash the
gosh.
frosting into the door and just be like, that's your cupcake. Thanks for picking it up.
New goal
We
right there.
deliver. You shouldn't do that. That's a terrible idea.
What's your address?
I'll tell you later.
That'd be a great Halloween prank. Like, why is there 400 cupcakes smashed into the siding of my house? You've been saving them up. I got one. This is not a serious question, but I'm curious. I feel like my daughter likes to order macchiatos from Starbucks. And so she'll go order this caramel macchiato. That's her drink. And they make the drink, and macchiato just means unmixed. And so they go through this extra effort of making this drink and this process for her. And then my daughter grabs a spoon in front of the Starbucks person's like, swoopy, 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 and unmacchiatos the macchiato. Yeah. And I try to tell her, like, I think you're being rude. Like they worked really hard on that. And then you're like, and that's over. Thanks for nothing. Like you just want a latte or you just want a frappe. And is there anything that people do with cupcakes? Like, I'm curious because I've seen like people rip them in half and make a sandwich.
Yeah.
Is that sacrilege for you guys? Like, how dare you sandwich my cupcake?
I have my thing. What
I
do
do
you
too.
have?
I'm curious. Oh, okay.
You go first.
My thing is actually, I'm sorry for whoever's listening. I just can't stand when somebody comes up and they're like, pick one cupcake and they're like, oh, we'll split one. And I'm like, I'm not huge and I could eat 3 or 4 easily, and they're like, oh, it's so big.
Yeah.
And they're like splitting
That's
this
the lady that wanted
cupcake.
the salad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, I cringe. It just makes me feel so much happier when they are like, give me a half a dozen. I'm going to try them all myself. Because that's what we would do. I mean, we still go around every time we go on vacation or to a new city, we find the cupcake place there. And we get cupcakes, and that's research, So, and I mean, there's like 3 of us, and we're getting a dozen to try them all, and to so.
And when we throw away the box, it's just like
just
murder, just pieces of this one and the frosting of that one, and it's
yeah. So that's my thing. We did a wedding not long ago, and the cupcakes were almost gone before the food started to be served.
Wow.
And although that was, a little much, I was like, well, at least, I mean, you just saw people with 2 and 3 cupcakes at their
it was so funny
at the table, and the mother of the bride is like, stop giving them cupcakes. And I was like, I would rather that than people can I share one? So that's my thing.
Mine, I was kind of almost the same thing, but I mean, I eat it with a fork sometimes too. So I get it. But people eat it with a fork and they take these tiny little dainty bites. And I'm just embrace it, Maybe it's because I take too big of bites when I eat. That's probably the reason, actually.
Yeah.
Ideally, you guys want to eat them like 1-year-olds on their first birthday. When they bake the fancy cake, just smear it off.
Oh wait, that would be a second one. Actually, is it bothers me when sometimes families will come in and kids love kids, they're great, but they'll leave and basically there's just enough crumbs on the floor to put up basically the whole cupcake. And I'm like, I feel bad for your parents because they paid for that and it's all on the ground.
Yeah, we're used to it.
This show is produced at Podcast Cary, a professional studio making podcasting simple and fun. Located in Vibe Co-working in Cary, North Carolina. Want to start a podcast to create great content for your business and establish yourself as a thought leader in your city? Go to podcastcary.com. Connect with your audience. grow your brand.
So I did notice, and I wanted to talk to you guys about this, that HappyCakes donates 10% of every purchase to a couple organizations. So there's the one in Cambodia, Cambodia's Cause, and then also Wipe Every Tear. So how did you guys get hooked up with those organizations, and why is that important to you guys?
As far as giving, that's like, we always say it's like the core of who we are. So from the very beginning, out of our house, it was, tiddlywinks then, but we were like, we're going to give 10% to an organization, and it's right off the top. So like the $3 cupcake, 30 cents is going to the organization. It's not like after expenses or after taxes or whatever. So it was just like basically a part of who we are. Like we all love giving. And so that first one, Wipe Every Tear, was actually my daughter-in-law came from Idaho. She had a connection there, and it was the man who started Wipe Every Tear. And
they rescue women from sex trafficking in the Philippines.
Right. And they have houses, and we're actually going to get to maybe tomorrow night Skype with some of the girls over there in the Philippines. So yeah, they have houses, and the cool thing, what they do is they rescue them out of sex trafficking, and then they live there like as long as it takes for them to get schooling and to be able to get a job and get out on their own. And because because my daughter-in-law met with him about 2 weeks ago, he was saying there that you practically have to have a college degree to work at like McDonald's or something. So, they put them through schooling and do everything it takes to get them to be able to live a, productive life on their own.
I was just on their website too, and some of them are producing jewelry, and it's pretty cool looking jewelry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is. So we just started that at the beginning, and it was just cool because, it was so exciting for us that as HappyCakes grew, what we were able to give grew.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very rewarding.
It is so cool.
It really is.
And you get used to living off of the 90%, right? And so you don't miss it. But I wonder, it would be really hard if you guys didn't start with that, to just be like, I'm going to give 10% of this year's to pick a thing. I don't think... I think that'd be tough on people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It'd be really
That's
difficult.
another thing I'm really glad that we started doing right away, because that'd be rough. Yeah.
And so then you added the Cambodia's Cause as well.
Cambodia's Cause, that's really cool. We actually got to meet him.
Yeah.
Was it the beginning of last year, maybe?
I read on his website, Small World, I went to the same college that dude did. Like,
really?
Just missed him by a little bit, but he's from North Central.
Interesting.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's really cool. He's such a cool guy, and
he has a crazy story, like an insane testimony.
Mm-hmm. He was a survivor of the killing fields, and so it's just really neat because he'd come to America, got adopted, and then
moved to Minnesota, which makes a lot of sense if you're from Cambodia.
I mean, they're pretty much
a lot
the
of
same.
fun.
Yeah. Was adopted by American parents, and then he said he, grew up, and the last place he ever wanted to go was Cambodia.
Yeah.
But he was able to reconnect with his mom, right?
Yeah.
Went over there and felt called to go back, and
she was like the only one of his family that survived. Yeah. So.
And fought it because he did not want to go back over there, because he said the culture there is like, there's just like a culture of death because of that, And
like it still greatly affects the whole country.
It's probably dehumanizing in a sense, and it's tough to recover from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, he was tortured. He like legit crawled over, fields of bodies, like to escape at one point. It just crazy stuff he went through. So it's just insane.
So now he runs an orphanage, and they have a floating village over there and a floating school, and really cool stuff that they're doing. So that's been another really cool organization that we've gotten to be a part of. And then it makes us feel like when we're selling cupcakes, it's not just about cupcakes.
Yeah.
It's about making an impact around the world. And we feel like we have a little part of that, you know?
And you're empowering your customers to do that.
Exactly.
Which
they
is
have
great.
a part of that.
You're giving them an opportunity to, by buying a cupcake, give 10% of that to something that's really making a difference.
Well, one analogy I always like to refer to is that how a nuclear power powers an aircraft carrier.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you guys could have seen that. He was talking about nuclear power, and he was doing paper covers rock to explain it.
I'm doing that because it's like a little ball of
hand gesture.
I bet in sign language that means nuclear power.
It probably does.
Yeah, but you get it.
100%.
It's like a little ball of purpose can power a big thing, right? Like, just give us all this joy.
That's true. That's very true.
Very motivating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you're not just when you're having a rough day, you're not just selling cupcakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're doing something bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Definitely.
awesome. That's very cool.
Man,
And
what a
that-
special story you guys have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're proud of it.
So now the question that I want to ask as well. It's not a serious one. Well, maybe it's very serious. I want to know what's your favorite cupcake to bake and what's your favorite cupcake to eat.
Oh,
Because now I'm just shopping for when I go visit your
Right.
store. Because I want to know the worst one to bake so I can order that.
Of course.
And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to share it with somebody and leave a lot of crumbs. And then I want to know the best one to eat. So that's the one that's for me.
Let's have a date, a mandate.
That's what are you doing for lunch, Josh?
Mandate at HappyCakes.
Side note, we were going to bring you guys cupcakes, but they were literally in the process of baking them when we left this morning.
Yeah.
But we
Take
wanted
and
to,
bake
and we were
cupcakes. You
going
just came
to.
up with your Papa Murphy's idea.
What's that idea?
Papa Murphy's is the pizza place
Yeah,
that
I know
doesn't
what it
finish
is.
their job. They're just like, here, finish this.
Oh, is that their
Yeah.
thing?
We make pizza, but not all the way. Take it.
Make it at home.
It's mostly done.
Trying to think the worst to bake. Pineapple's kind of difficult.
Maybe one of the ones with
Oh,
fillings.
It's one of the blueberry ones. Oh, I had to do a bunch for a wedding, and it was they're just so moist that as you're taking them out, they're like falling apart.
The blueberry?
So I'm trying
The
to
blue
think
velvet
exactly
one?
what it was.
Blue velvet.
Oh yeah, it was the blue velvet,
Which is a
Mhm.
blueberry cake with cream cheese. It's one of my favorites.
It's
Ooh.
so
It's so good.
That sounds like breakfast.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
but like you're losing a lot as you, and we're perfectionists, so we taste a cupcake from every batch, and like if it's not perfect, if it's not up to our standards, we do it again, you know. And but that one you lose a lot in the process, and I was baking them alone for a wedding, and so I had to have a certain amount. So that's my least favorite as of right now.
Yeah.
And I actually, this is a taste thing, and this is funny. I don't like the Oreo, and it is probably our top selling cupcake.
Yeah.
Oreo.
I can see why you wouldn't like that because you didn't make it. You're like, it came from Nabisco or whoever. You're like, and I'm crumbling up this crap in this perfect cupcake. So I can see that.
Yeah.
But most people are like,
Strawberries
Yeah.
coming out.
I don't care. Cookies, man. Oreos.
Yeah, that one we do every Saturday. It's probably our top seller, and
It's super popular.
if ever we take it away, like there's been a couple times we've taken it away, and it's like we had a riot on our hands. Practically.
People legit get
Like,
angry at
mad.
us. Like,
What am I
get
supposed to
mad.
eat? Blueberries?
Well, and we'll switch it. Like the couple times we've switched it, we switched it to like
It was
it's every
amazing.
Saturday, and we put it to like a Friday or something. It wasn't like Monday, or anything crazy. It
People
was
are planning their month around it. They're getting their
Yeah.
calendar and they're like, Oreo day here, here,
Yeah.
here.
yeah.
Well, and it was like a holiday, so the flavors that were in its
Replaced it.
place were amazing flavors. But no, you gotta have
people
the
are
Oreo.
having none of it.
So then when people sometimes are like, on Facebook or whatever, can't you switch up the flavors, and can't you do Oreo a different day? And we're like, Shh, you don't understand, this is, if you want to see violence in the store, maybe, but
Pandemonium.
yeah.
Again, back to that. Like, I know you got a plan, but my thing though, right?
But
Like-
my plan
But
is
I want an Oreo.
Oreo.
You just keep a bag next to so when
Yeah.
people complain, you just crumble it up
Yeah,
and stick it on top of their cupcake.
nacho it.
Not sure.
It's a great idea.
I think my favorite to eat is we do the ice cream flavors in the summer, and we do drumstick.
I saw
Like,
a picture of that. So you put the cupcake batter in a cone.
No. So we do a brown, a brown sugar cake.
Stop talking.
And then the bottom is like filled with kind of like a hard chocolate, kind of, how the bottom of the cone. And then it's filled with vanilla cream, and then I think vanilla buttercream, right? And then dipped in chocolate and nuts.
It has like a chocolate shell over it, which is really good.
and that's the thing, like all of like
so like
our
a drumstick has like the chocolate shell.
right.
Gotcha.
So like that's the thing, like our flavors. I mean, they really taste like what we're going for usually. Like key lime pie really tastes like key lime pie.
Carrot cake.
Carrot cake. So that one is my favorite. I don't know. It's just that little hard chocolate at the bottom, and yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah.
but we don't do it very often. So
I have a couple favorites. I have sweet potato is one of them, and that's a sweet potato cake with cream cheese. It's so good. But then my other one's oatmeal cream pie. And it's because I guess it's because of my childhood of not having Little Debbie cakes, but it tastes exactly like
Your
a little
pitiful childhood.
Yeah, my sad. I had a very rough childhood.
The definition of first world problems, like my mom cooked from scratch.
I never had a Little Debbie oatmeal cream pie or ravioli in a can.
Then we opened up a cupcake place. That's the worst.
Yeah, it tastes exactly like a Little Debbie cake oatmeal cream pie, and I love it. It's so good.
I'll have to check that one out. I love oatmeal cream pies.
Yeah, that one's
mostly
coming
because in
up.
high school I was super cheap, and I would like stop at the gas station when I didn't have a lot of money. Because for $0.25 you could get one of these jokers. So you got two of them.
Yeah.
That's like lunch.
Yeah.
Put the rest in the
Good
gas
lunch.
tank. What's the worst one? You don't bake much. You don't go in the back and bake much.
Nah, not particularly. I try not to. I'm not good at it, and I don't like it.
Okay, so I guess you get a pass on that.
Yeah. Any of the filled ones are not fun to do because you have to like hole each cupcake, and there's like a little holer we have, but it's still a hassle to do. So yeah, I guess that would be.
It's very cool. So you guys can check out the HappyCakes Cupcakery. Your guys' website is
The happy. Yeah.
The HappyCakes Cupcakery.
the HappyCakes Cupcakery.
A lot of people leave out the so.
And you can follow you guys on social media,
Mm-hmm.
and you can get the list of when the big good flavors come out and plan your trip accordingly.
That's right. And definitely visit there. It's a fun place to hang out, whether you're in Cary or Morehead City, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll probably see one of us there at either store.
Did they open up like a bottle store pretty close to you guys?
Yeah, next door we have or 2 doors down, Bottles and Cans. They're super nice over there.
Oh, bottles and cans. Like they do crowlers.
I'm just
and
planning our
wine.
mandate because
Yeah.
we'll go get some cupcakes
Yeah.
and then we'll wash them down with some kind of weird flavored beer.
Yeah.
I like the mandate. It's mandatory. It's like
Mandatory. Yeah.
Mandatory.
We have to do it.
mandate.
Well, we're guys who do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not guys who don't do stuff.
We've got to go here for sure, though.
Yeah.
Like
Today. Why not?
today.
We got
And you have to get the oatmeal cream pie.
oatmeal cream pie.
That
Doing
might
that
be
today?
Friday, actually.
Friday.
It is.
So,
I'm there.
no, maybe no. It's Thursday.
Oh, shoot,
I
I'm
think
working
it's
so
tomorrow.
that
Yeah.
works.
Well, by the time you're listening to this, it won't be true. So make sure you go to the calendar and find out what day. Don't just listen to this some random Thursday and go there and throw a fit. Like, I want the oatmeal cream pie.
You said they'd be here.
Brought my own
We'll have the
Oreos.
little Debbie's ready. Just throw 'em out.
Well, it's been really fun talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Congratulations on all your success. I love the story
you.
of it seemed like you guys were kind of born out of some tough things, but pushed through and then hit some more tough things and push through. And it's so good to see you guys on the other side to change. You guys open up anything else soon? You thinking about doing another one?
I don't know.
I mean, not within the next year.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Maybe after that.
We're not totally closed off to it, but
Yeah.
we don't have any plans right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys ever think about franchising?
Nope.
No. Mm-mm.
And the reason for that is because once you franchise, essentially you're selling your name. So somebody else could like if Josh makes terrible cupcakes, he could open a HappyCakes and call them HappyCakes, but he makes terrible cupcakes.
Josh.
So,
Sad cakes.
so yeah,
And
we don't
most-
want our name on Josh's cupcakes.
No, you don't.
And most of the franchise places, I can't speak for all of them, and I wouldn't name names, but they just ship their cupcakes in frozen and buckets of frosting. That's yeah. But it makes sense
Tragedy.
because they're trying for consistency,
Yeah.
So
I have to imagine it's a comparative thing, like the difference between eating sushi at a all-you-can-eat buffet and a
Right.
good sushi place. Like they're not the
So
same
true.
meal,
yeah.
but one sure does. You can eat a lot of it for like
Yeah.
$12. You know, like the hibachi place up there. If you want to go murder some sushi that's mediocre, that's your jam. But if you want good sushi, you
Yeah.
got to go to a place that like makes it and they do it right.
Yeah.
And
Has
and
like
it-
the legit sushi chef and
it
all
should
that.
come out room temperature, not cold. Like cold sushi is a weird thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you know you're getting the fresh stuff.
When's your key lime pie cupcake coming up again?
It is. No, I need to.
I think you're out of luck.
Yeah, it might not be this month.
I would have
Okay.
been surprised
Well,
if
it's
you.
because
I was kind of surprised you guys didn't say that was a tough one to make because my wife tried to make key lime pie once and I didn't know key limes were tiny. And she's trying to get enough stuff to make it. And she's just
Yeah.
like
They're so
in the
much
kitchen,
smaller.
just like fighting with these tiny lemons and limes and their
Yeah.
limes.
that's
And,
true. Yeah,
That one we've
we
done
don't-
though since we were baking out of our house. And the first few times that one was rough. So we've just, we've
I'm
done
never
it for so long.
I'm never the person that juices. So like, I guess I luck out there.
Now we've gotten so
That would be
used to doing
awesome.
all the juicing, and we have a little, juicer thing. And the juicing ones aren't too bad.
But I'm pretty sure key lime's a summer flavor, so we might not have it again.
Sounds all right. I can wait until next time.
Look how patient you've been.
I'm just going to be patient with the other ones while I wait.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Let's go in every day and just complain about it.
I know you have all these other flavors, but why not this one?
Well, thanks so much for being here. We've had a blast, and thanks for sharing your story.
Yeah, and everybody
Thanks
in
for
the
having
area,
us.
be sure to go check out HappyCakes.
We love making this stuff for you. You can help us out by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. Get unstuck, tell a better story, and have a good answer to the question, what are you doing today?